friends, welcome back to our week of spies. Yesterday we made this awesome encryption method so that we could send messages to our friends and nobody else could read them, which was amazing. If you missed it, you should check it out. You can get our download online and you can make it pretty easily. You just need some scissors and some tape and a toilet paper tube. It's not too bad. But now we have to get our message to our friends. And that can be tricky. So there's things called live drops where I might go up to my friend and be like, hey, here's this secret message. And then like they pick it up, or maybe we sit next to each other and I have got like my cool science briefcase and I put it down and I tie my shoes and I'm like, oompa loompa doopity doo. And the guy's like, oh yeah, that's the secret code. And then I get up and leave without my briefcase. And then the other guy picks up the briefcase and is like, all right, they knew the passcode. We all know the passcode. I've got the secret thing. Except for what if somebody's watching me and they notice that I said oompa loompa doopity doo, and they kind of notice that I entered the park with a briefcase and I left the park without a briefcase. That could be terrible because if they're watching, they'll now know who my friend is that I just passed a secret to. So they could go pick up my friend and get the secret, and they might not be able to read it, but then they could go pick me up. And then, like, this would just be terrible. They could, like, force us to tell them the secrets, and maybe my secret is, like, I don't know, I know how to unleash, like, free energy to the whole world, like, nuclear energy, I figured it out. I don't know. And maybe they're evil, and I don't want them to know. So that's really risky. Like, meeting somebody who's, like, sitting right next to me alive to pass my message straight to them is really, really risky. We don't want to do that. So we do something called a dead drop. And nobody dies in the dead drop, thankfully. Whew. But it takes this like extra layer out. And so instead of having to meet them live, you kind of stash it away. And then you have the other person come and pick it up at a different time. So that is what we're going to make today. And what you need to make it is you need some sort of small container that you're going to put your message into. I have a couple ideas. We have like a film canister container. This would be great because it's waterproof. So that's kind of handy. I have a Tupperware container that's just like a little tiny Tupperware. Not as waterproof, but kind of a little bigger. So maybe you need that. And I also just have like a Petri dish. Not waterproof, but kind of a cool shape. And these are things that we could use to make a dead drop out of. And then we need to decorate our dead drop so it fits in around the place. So I have a few ideas for you. One of them was just to decorate it with things in your recycling bin, and maybe you sort of make it look like your dead drop fell out of your recycling bin. I also have some modeling clay because our recycling bin is really empty right now. We just took our recycling out, so when I looked in it, there was nothing. But I have some modeling clay that we can use, and I also have some natural items that are no longer living that could be great to make an outdoor dead drop that would be camouflaged. So the big idea with whatever materials you're using is you want to make something that will be camouflaged as we go. I have a glue gun and some hot glue. You could have some tape with you. And then of course we need to make sure we put on our maker hats and that we bring our creativity with us today. And while some of you guys go and run around and grab those items, I want to say hello to our friends and see who's with us. Because I love seeing who's with us.
Well, that's because we have great, awesome students.
It's true. Super true.
First up, back in the lead, George and Henry.
Hi, George and Henry. Welcome back. Oh my gosh, George was such a spy master yesterday. Like, he was like a cryptologist. He just kept writing things in. It was great.
Crypto wizard.
Yeah, maybe. An encoding whiz.
Encoding whiz. Nice
Yes,
job.
that was pretty cool.
Naomi's in the house.
Hey, Naomi! Oh, I'm glad you're here.
And Callie is here.
Yay!
But we should
Callie.
please refer to her as Sparkly Gold Unicorn Panda as her spy name.
Hello, Sparkly Unicorn Panda. Ooh, but I probably should not say your spy name to the world.
Oh, sorry about that.
We said nothing.
Nothing at all. We also have Jack, who is up to Explorer
Yay!
Academy Book 3.
Hi, Jack! Are you loving it? I hope you love the Explorer Academy books. We love them. They're so good. They're great. I love those books.
We have Orion here, and
hello, Orion.
he would rather be a secret agent than a spy, which I'm not sure what's the difference.
Yeah, what is the difference?
And
Because I feel like a secret agent steals information, which is pretty spy-like.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe he can clarify it. But his name would be Legendary Oasis.
We should not be reading spy names.
Oops.
But I do like Legendary Oasis. We're just going to read them all. And then your spy name will be broken for the CIA.
Yeah, you might have to change it. Hopefully people from the spy agencies don't watch YouTube.
Yeah, that's true. Definitely down.
Bonjour, Barbara Lennon.
Bonjour, mon ami. Oh, I'm glad you guys are back.
And Connor and maybe Grayson are here in the
Yay!
World of Spies.
Hello, Connor and Grayson. We've missed you.
And Griffin.
Yay! Hi, Griffin. Oh, I'm excited. Griffin made one of our encoders with me in class. So now Griffin's got to make the dead drop. That's pretty cool.
Awesome. And we have Kailani here.
Hello, Kailani and Keikoa, I bet. I bet Keikoa's
And
with her.
Kaya is here.
Yay! Hi, Kaya! And I bet Lila and Millie are here. They're always here.
I was going to check
so
yesterday.
I'm going to say hello to Lila and Millie as well.
Yep, Lila and Millie are here.
They're here. Awesome.
Connor says his dad is a cryptologist. Maybe we could get some help.
Really? That's so cool.
Maybe Isabel can get some cool code breaking books because she loves those.
We also should send you, Connor, the files to print if you have a 3D printer. You could 3D print one of these wheel ciphers and you could see if your dad could break it and figure out which way it goes. That'd be really hard because there's a lot of combinations. That's really cool.
It looks
I'm
like...
My dad didn't do that.
Kailana's also got her dog here.
Oh, yay.
Hi,
Hello,
Kailana's
puppy.
dog. And Ray Ray's here.
Yay, hi, Ray Ray. I feel like we missed Ray Ray yesterday.
I thought she wasn't she.
Was she here?
I think
Maybe she was. Maybe I just didn't see you in Zoom.
Well, we had a long YouTube session.
We did, because we had so much fun sharing codes. That was amazing.
And it went even
I
longer
loved it.
in Zoom.
I know. It was like all the way up. Like we were like, it was past 1 o'clock because we were just sharing codes.
We have Micah here.
Hi, Micah. It's great to see you back.
And George would like everybody to know, and nobody to know, that Mr. Panda is his spy name.
Everybody and nobody.
Yeah.
Now we know.
And it looks like Ray Ray's spy name is Rainbow Kitty Corn.
That's a great spy name.
That's a great...
Makes me think of those little Lego unicorns. Fabulous. All right.
All right. That's what we got for right now. But please let us know your spy name.
Okay. Yeah, for sure.
If you have it.
All right. So let's get started. So your dead drop is going to be whatever you put in your dead drop will sort of be defined by the size. Now, spies put a lot of things in dead drops. Sometimes they're little, like a little SD card with information that somebody can plug into a computer. Sometimes they're bigger, like maybe a pile $10,000-$20,000 of cash. Maybe it's just a key. Maybe it needs to be a passport book. Maybe it needs to be certain papers or tape recordings or video recordings or film. There's a lot of things that we actually put in dead drops. And dead drops are not old school. They actually are still used today, which is kind of cool. There was a case about 5 years ago. There was actually two spies that got caught because of their dead drops. So there was a Chinese spy who had recruited an American, and the spy would like randomly every few months go to a hotel, to a specific room, and the Chinese guy would go leave like $20,000 taped to the bottom of like a dresser, and then a few months later, the person who was like the evil spy selling secrets to China came, took the money, and then taped their little SD card to a different piece of furniture, and then the other guy would come back and pick it up, and that was their dead drop. They used a dead drop of a hotel room, and they just taped it to things in the hotel room. So dead drops are still used. These are pretty cool things, and you can still encrypt your message and put it in a dead drop for an added layer of security. Now, whatever you use for your dead drop, you want to make sure it either blends in with its surroundings, or you want to make sure that it's sort of like an obvious not blend in. Like maybe you put it in a gnome, which clearly doesn't blend in your garden, but it looks like a little lawn ornament, and that's totally cool too. A lot of dead drops that we see are actually very plain, like loose brick in the wall, something taped under a bench seat, a trash bag, like adding it just to like local trash and making sure that you signal to your other partner that they need to pick up the trash before the trash machine comes. So it could be really anything. Yours can look like anything you want. And today we're gonna make a couple. One of the ones that we're gonna make is one that can go outside, and I'm gonna put it in this one because I'm thinking maybe we could hide a house key in this for when Georgia and Isabella might get locked out someday and they would know where the dead drop was. It's more like a hiding spot then. because we're not exchanging information. But it'd be a really good hiding spot. And then I'm guessing that Georgia might be interested in making some lawn art or like some art for her room or maybe an art for like her tree house outside that would be great to add like a little decoration to, and then she could maybe do messages with her best friend, which would be kind of cool. So I have this modeling clay that she can use and she could wrap it around. And if you do use modeling clay or any type of clay, you do want to make sure you can still open it and close it. So you don't want to put your clay around the top because that would be a little tricky to open and close it. All right, so I'm going to put those things for Georgia. She's already loading up her dead drop. And I'm going to use one, and I'm going to thinking that I'm going to make one that can go like sort of in our ferns. You notice in our background, we have this beautiful forest, and we have all these dead ferns in there. I mean, they're not like terribly dead ferns or anything like that, but we do have dead ferns in there, and ferns, they sort of die and come down. So I'm like, if I maybe popped it in there, it would just look like extra dead foliage. So I actually went around the yard and gathered a few dead fern pieces, a dead branch, some dead leaves, some dead pine cones that I could sort of add to this so that it would make it look like there was nothing really there. I'm going to grab a pair of scissors, and I'm thinking that I might just wrap this first in this hemp yarn so that if any part of it shows, they actually see sort of this same brownish color that is in there. So I think that'll be helpful. And whatever you're going to do, I bet, is different, which is amazing because we don't want all dead drops to look alike. That would be a boring world to live in if we all made the same types of projects. So we can all make different types of projects, and then we can celebrate them all, which is amazing. And I'm just going to glue this on here. You might have your recycling bin that you're thinking of using, and if you use a recycling bin, maybe you can think of how you could make your drop look like it's a cereal box, and it's something inside the cereal box would be kind of cool to use. All sorts of things that you could use. And yesterday I told you there were dead drops that you could go visit if you wanted to. And there are. It is super cool. It's a program, you might have heard it, it's called geocaching, where people go and they put little books, or sometimes people add in little pieces of toys that you might be able to exchange for. And sometimes it is just a book where you say, oh, hey, how's it going? But there's nobody there that will actually exchange the information. So you're exchanging information while nobody's there. And sometimes they go check it, and sometimes other people check it. And that is a dead drop. So if you wanted to, you could go look up some geocache locations that are near you that you could try to go visit. You could go visit some of these locations and see what are people using in dead drops, which is kind of cool. There are some dead drops too nowadays that you could look for but don't use, that are people who have tried to find clever places they could put a USB stick in. And so a USB stick is like, it kind of sticks out, and you can plug it into a computer so you could transmit information. And the reason why I say don't use it is because, like, who knows what's on that USB stick? Nobody. It seems a little risky to plug into something that you don't know about. But you could go look for them because they'd be hard to spot. And I'm curious if people have ideas of what they, like, who they are going to, use their dead drop with. Because that will be interesting.
We have a couple more spy names.
Ooh, yes, spy names.
We have Griffin, can also be known as X1353.
Ooh, that's a good one. X35153.
Yeah, kind of like 007.
Yes.
Yeah. That's a very James Bondy,
I dig it.
futuristic spy name.
Yeah.
And we got Henry's Puppy Boy.
Ooh.
That's very cute.
I love it. That is cute.
And our French, les Français amis.
Mon ami français.
Les amis français. And we have Mrs. Wolf and Mr. Pig.
Ooh. That
Very
sounds
tricky.
super sneaky. Like, I can totally see these names as, like, names that would be in great spy stories that you might read in the newspaper one day. If I ever read a story about Mrs. Wolf and Mrs. Wolf taking down, like, I don't know, global evil, I'm going to know who it was.
I'll know who it was. The first instance of that spy name will be there.
Yes. totally agree.
Kaya gave me a code, so I'm going to do it while I'm
Ooh, Kaya sent a code. Evan is going to decipher a code from Kaya from yesterday. I wonder if it's Kaya's code name.
Ooh.
In code. That's cool. I love it.
Yeah.
Now we're making our dead drops right now, but there is another really important part of the dead drop, and that is signaling. Because if it's a dead drop, we don't want people always going to the same spot to check something and then like walk away. That becomes pretty obvious if like somebody starts to think you might be a spy. Like it'll be easy in the beginning because nobody will know you're a spy. But at some point, somebody's gonna be like, I don't know, that kid with like brownish blonde hair and like thick awesome black glasses might be spying on something. And then they'll start following you, Griffin. And then if you keep checking the same spot, they'll know. And then they'll like be like, who are you? Who are you? And then like all of a sudden you're like, Alex K3513. And then they'll know. And that would be terrible. A good spy would never crack that easily. I'm sure Griffin would never crack. But we want to be able to signal that, hey, I put something in the dead drop, so now you should come check it. So if you want to do dead drops with your friends, you have to think about what signal would I use? And you also have to make sure that you place it in a spot that they can get to, because we're all sort of stuck at home. So maybe it's your neighbor and you somehow signal and there's like a dead drop in the fence between you guys. That would be really cool.
Yeah.
You could pass messages or candy. If like one neighbor gets to have candy all the time and the other neighbor doesn't, you could like secretly pass candy. In a dead drop system.
One of the traditional signals is to take a piece of chalk and just do a chalk mark on a brick or a signpost. Mm-hmm. And then the other spy walks past that every day, and if they see that chalk,
then they know.
They go check their hide spot.
Yeah, and sometimes they put like tape, like a piece of tape on a signpost that seems pretty like, oh, I'm not going to really pay attention to that. So chalk's a really used one. So is tape. Things like when you get home from doing the dead drop could be things like putting your blinds at a certain level. Or turning on a specific light in your house that maybe you don't ever turn on before. But maybe it just looks like to the outside person, oh, that light went on. No big deal, their porch light's on. But to the person who walks by your house wondering if you have information for them, they would know, ooh, porch light's on. I better go check that bench in the park, or I better go look under that rock, or I better go check in those ferns, because maybe they like to go hiking all the time. Yeah, maybe you like to go hiking all the time. So these are all things we have to think about, and you got to talk about these things before, and ideally you talk about them with somebody who both of you know, but then you don't know each other. So the whole idea of a dead drop is sort of security. If I know that my spy informant is Evan, then that's not very secure, because if I get caught, I can just tell them that the spy is Evan. So a lot of times we go through multiple layers of security where you don't actually know who is watching for your dead drop, and you have no idea about who it might be, which gives you added security for both people, because nobody can try to save themselves and tell the bad guys who you are or where you are. And they have these things actually digitally right now with a lot of reporters and journalism. You always want sources, but sometimes the sources want to be anonymous. And sometimes reporters might be like, of course I'll keep you anonymous. But then the sources might get really nervous. Like, well, you said that last time, and then the government forced you to say something, and that other source is now in prison. That'd be terrible, right? So that would not make you want to share it. But they have these file servers now that are basically like dead drops. In fact, the first time they made it, they called it a dead drop. I think it's called like secure drop now. But they called it that because it would basically remove all of any identifying information from your computer, from you, and it would just send it to the reporter. The reporter would have no idea who sent it to them, so they obviously don't need to worry about security and that kind of thing. Those are all things that exist nowadays. So you could think about, ooh, do I want my dead drop to have some electronic component, like a USB stick that when you plug it in, plays like a silly GIF for your friend who needs a little cheering up.
So we have one person who says they're going to change the position of their flower pot on the porch.
Oh, that's a great signal. I love that signal. Because that would be like, you could just be like watering your flowers and then just like nudge it over and be like, oops, I gotta fix it. And then shift, either rotate it or shift where it's at. That's a great idea of your position of your flower pot. See, you guys are so creative. What I love about science is that you get to be so creative. There is no right answer or wrong answer here. There's no right way to make your dead drop or a wrong way, right? It's just what we think will work, and then we test it and we see. And we'll see if it works or not. Well, if it's wrong, we can edit it. We can change it.
I think we found Kaya's code name.
Oh, what is Kaya's code name?
So the original code she sent us is IQA1I.
IQA1I.
And when I transcribed it, when I encoded it, it came out with candy.
Ooh.
That sounds like a good code name.
It does, because then people would be like, what do you mean candy? It's candy! What kind of candy? Sweet tarts! Yes. And then, like, you'd be telling them, so, like, they couldn't torture you anymore. Because you'd be telling them the truth, but they wouldn't actually think you're talking about chocolate bars, maybe.
It would be just like that.
Just like that.
Just like that.
I mean, I've obviously been in those situations so many times.
That's how spies work.
Can I use some of that?
Some of what? The outside stuff? Or the glue?
Outside stuff.
Yeah. We are just decorating and making some camouflage. I'm making it so that my dead drop is going to be a little bit nature-esque, so I can go put it in a forest, which could be a great spot. Whenever you place your dead drop, you don't want to put your dead drop, like, I don't know, where would be a terrible place? Like in a stadium that you can only get to when there's like 40,000 fans around, because that seems a little nerve-wracking because 40,000 people could see you get your dead drop. That does not seem good. I mean, you don't even want a squirrel to notice that you're getting your dead drop, to be honest.
Why?
Because then, like, what if the squirrel knows, and what if the squirrel finds out that you're always dead dropping acorns, and the squirrel starts to steal your acorns? That'd be terrible. But you want to make sure that, like, people can't surprise you, which is why a lot of dead drops are sort of in alleyways where it's sort of deserted, and that way you can't, you know, right? You go there at like 1 o'clock in the morning, and then you know that there's not going to be anybody there to surprise you. So your placement of your dead drop's really important too. So I'm thinking we could place this dead drop sort of in our forest so that you could just go take, I mean, I take a walk in the forest every day. So I could just go walk in the forest and then tell somebody, ooh, hey, did you know about this new cool spy science thing? And then the person could like come pick it up because I could move my flower pot, and that would be good. Of course, we can't all move our flower pot because now it's known to the world. Mm-hmm. And so then the flower pot people would be like, flower pots keep moving everywhere. What's going on with that? Yep, I'm going to borrow it for a second, Georgia. All right. So if you have any other good ideas on what you would use to signal for your dead drop.
How do you think they catch spies? Does anybody have any idea how you would catch a spy?
How would you catch a spy? Especially a spy using a dead drop. Ooh, you might want to catch spies for the other team, right? There's spies for every country or every not every organization, but lots of organizations do have spies. Like Coca-Cola might be trying to steal Pepsi's recipe. Or Charlie and the Chocolate Factory, hello, there were lots of spies in that. They were stealing his recipes left and right, which is why he shut that factory down. So there are a lot of things, like there are corporate spies. It's not, spies just does not happen just between countries trying to get information from each other.
They dress up to try.
They probably do dress up, right? They probably do dress up so that you can't tell as much. I mean, this is looking really good. I'm kind of digging my little thing. Now, of course, over time, these guys are going to degrade more, but the nice thing about using stuff that was already dead is that it's not going to die further. I mean, it'll get eaten by, like, ants and stuff. Well, not ants, but beetles, maybe. So there's that, but it's going to sort of look like a blob on the ground of stuff, which will be kind of cool. And maybe since I've got, like, a little forest theme going on, maybe I decide that I put a painted rock on a post in the forest. The post that goes into our forest. because painted rocks are like all the rage right now. So somebody could just go by and be like, oh, look, that's a pretty painted rock. And maybe I'd make a different painted rock each time. And so then the person who comes to pick up my dead drop, they come and take the painted rock with them, and they look like, oh, they're just collecting painted rocks, because painted rocks are like all the rage. And that could be a great way to keep myself hidden. Which, that is what we want to do as spies. We want to stay hidden. We don't want anybody to know about us. Got all these twigs going in here. Now, I am really excited for Zoom to see what you guys are making. It's always tricky on these days where we're doing a lot of making, because hopefully people are not just watching me make and you guys are all making at the same time. And again, there's no right way, no wrong way to be a maker. You just gotta try, see what sort of problems you encounter, and then see if you can solve those problems. I mean, this is looking kind of interesting. Maybe I need it to like come out a little further so that it's not just like a blob, it kind of hangs out kind of far.
I just making this for fun. I'm not actually a spy.
You're not actually that's exactly what a spy would say.
Mm-hmm. How come
But
I'm not really a
not
spy.
gonna.
Exactly what a spy would say.
I
would like to believe Georgia. She's not really gonna be a spy. She's just doing hers for fun. Yeah, that's totally cool.
I might be a spy, but for right now,
She just drops that in there. She might be a spy. Alright, so I've got this cool little dead drop now.
But right now,
That if I put in the forest might be great. I kind of see the white here,
Right
so
now-
I'm gonna try to add a little bit to like
It's just
come
that
out and cover that up.
right now, I'm
That.
having a lot of fun just decorating it.
Me too. I'm having a lot of fun decorating right now. I am really excited. Ooh, there's a little spider. I'm really excited to see what our friends decorate and make.
Your secret cache looks a lot like a pile of leaves.
It does look a lot like a pile of leaves. And this is like the perfect secret cache if I'm in the forest.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I can't really put much in there. I can sort of only put in, here, there we go, it's gone. I can only sort of put in small things, so like communications. I couldn't be like taking chanterelle mushrooms and stuffing my chanterelle mushrooms in here and then like signaling to a friend like the chanterelles are picked. But I could do something with like, maybe there's money, so like, this could be a fun thing I could do with my kids of like, if they notice that the little painted rock is out, they have to go find the dead drop, and maybe there's like a few dollars in there that they can go to a local store. That could be fun. Maybe you could get your parents to play along with something like that. Because that would be cool.
Can you do it to me?
And they would have to know when it happens. Like, you just don't tell them, and you see if they notice. That would be really cool.
Or you could do the same thing for them. You could do the same thing for your parents. You can make
Yeah.
a cute little gift.
You could make them a little something of like, I love you guys because you work so hard. I'm not biased.
Mama, don't tell anyone. Okay?
Yeah, we won't tell anybody.
But that I'm gonna.
Ooh, this is good. Ooh, I love that idea.
Don't
That's
tell
a very
anyone.
spy-tastic secret.
tell.
I'm not going to tell anybody.
I'm just checking because I
She's
really
worried.
don't want anyone to.
But I think I am going to do that idea. I am going to show my kids where this dead drop is going to be and tell them what my signal is going to be. And then sometime this week, I might put a little bit of cash in there and put out the signal and see if they notice. And maybe I'll only leave it out for a day. If they don't notice, I'm going to take the signal away and take the cash out. And we could try a different day. So they can't just randomly go check it every day. Because you don't want to check your dead drop all the time. You only check the dead drop when the signal's out.
Yeah,
So.
and if we catch them checking it,
Oh yeah, then they're caught spies.
then they're caught spying.
Oh man, this is good. And I could encrypt a message to our girls. See, this is what you guys can do if you get your parents in on it a little bit, or you could do this with your brother or sister. You guys could write a message to each other, and then you could like stuff in a little bit of candy, like, here's some money for candy, but get me the Mars bar. And then you could like stuff it in with the message. And
But if they don't do it.
and they'd have to decipher the message. This is what we're doing. It's totally going to be an activity for us. And I'm pretty excited about
A
it.
big chocolate bar on the other side if they can decipher the
Yeah.
message.
And I feel like if this was just hanging out in the forest, you might not notice. Maybe I need a few more like sort of coming
I know.
out.
You can put it next
But I
to
could put it
you can put
anywhere.
it next to nature collection. direction.
I could put it in
And
there.
it would just look like
it might
nature.
just blend in because it just looks like nature. There's a lot of places we
Until
could put it.
until you're like, oh, did you put some new nature in? And I was like, oh yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is like, kind of reminds me of a ghillie suit. If you don't know what a ghillie suit, it's like what snipers wear in wars to like be totally concealed. And they decorate it just like this with all sorts of things that you might not notice.
It looks
otherwise.
like Barbara and Leonard had the same idea as you. Put your encoding key in there, and it leads to a secret message.
Yes. Maybe it tells you the wheel numbers because maybe you put the wheels on in different numbers each time you send a message. So they have to have their wheel and they gotta like take the message back to find out what candy bar they need to get you. And if they get you the wrong candy bar, off to spy prison.
Ooh.
I don't know what spy prison looks like, but I don't want to be there.
But what if,
I think it's regular prison.
what if they don't
It's regular-
know?
it is probably
But
versus
what
regular
if they
prison.
don't know what it is?
Tricky. George is worried, like, what if I don't know what candy bar you're asking for, Mom? Then you could, if you didn't know, you could write a message back, encoded, and then send the signal back, so then I could get it and decode the message and be like, which candy bar do you mean? And then I could re-encode it, put it back in, because that's exactly what dead drops are. They're a way to communicate without actually talking, which is kind of cool. All right, this is going to be mine. And we are definitely going to put this in our forest with an encrypted message and maybe some money with instructions on what candies to get me and Evan when they go down to the corner store. But they're going to have to know where the dead drop is and what the signal is. They have to keep their eyes out for that signal and make sure they get the dead drop that same day. Otherwise, they won't get the cash or the candy. That'll be fun.
I love it.
I am super excited to see what you guys are making in Zoom. If you are not over in Zoom now, you should head on over to Zoom as we transition over that way. If you want to get access to Zoom, you can do that. It's super easy. We're on patreon.com/RosieResearch, and support starts at $1 a week, which is a cup of coffee a month for tons of science activities. We put 20 out there a month, which is kind of amazing. We've done almost 50 at this point. We're going to keep going until school ends, and then we'll see sort of what happens for summer. Maybe we'll do some summer camps. Maybe we'll just hang out some more and do some more of this type of science. Who knows? We'll see what happens. And tomorrow we're going to make some spy gear that will let you super snoop on all those people you've been curious about. So we're going to make periscopes tomorrow, and you will need sort of a thin cardboard, like a cereal box to do that, and either 2 square mirrors or a CD. So you can do this with a CD if you need to. And if you have 2 mirrors, that actually will work even a little bit better. But we're going to make little periscopes so you can see around corners. You can see a little higher than you. You can see over walls. It's going to be a lot of fun.
Seeing around corners is pretty amazing when you're trying to spy on, like, you know, your parents.
Yes. Maybe you're trying to spy on your mom and dad, and you could just like this much sticking over the corner, you can be behind the wall watching them. And then you could be like, I saw you guys eating all the chocolate, and the parents might be like, no, I don't know what you're talking about. And you could take a picture. And be like, how'd you get this picture? You were asleep. I don't condone staying up after bedtime.
Or spying on your parents.
Or spying on your parents. That's just me. But anyhow, we are going to pop over into Zoom. We'll put Tiny Dancer on with friends. Tiny now has arms and legs and is like a legitimate frog. Tiny's losing the tail, which is kind of sad, which means we're going to have to release Tiny pretty soon. But that's okay, because that is the cycle of life. Make sure you subscribe to our YouTube channel, check out our Facebook page, our Instagram, all that cool stuff. Share the message of science if you have friends who are looking to add a little bit of structure in their day, because you can add as much or as little science as you want each week. All right, friends, I will see you over in Zoom to see what your dead drops look like and hear about your spy stories. Have a good afternoon. Bye.
Bye.